Chapter 1 of Shalya-Parva, Kripa and the King. It was the next day. Early in the morning, Kripa went to the king to see if he had slept well in the night. Looking at the bloodshot eyes of the king, he knew that he had not slept a wink. He took Duryodhana's hand in his and squeezed it in silent sympathy. He was sorry to see his condition. He looked at him and said, "Duryodhana, do not grieve so much. I am so sorry for you. You know that Ashwatthama and I are very fond of you. We want you to live. The Kshatriya code of honor is a destructive code of honor. It believes that killing is the ultimate aim of a man. It is not right. The duty of the king is to protect the lives of his subjects and not cause their death. Please listen to me. You began this war with hope singing high in your heart. But your hopes have not been realized. The great Bhishma had been vanquished. Drona, who we thought was invincible, is dead. Radeya, that lone star in the later horizon, has now set. I saw Jayadratha killed. So many of your brothers are dead. Your son Lakshana Kumara is dead. What is there for you to fight for? I am sure that your love for the kingdom died yesterday when you lost Radeya. All those who were dear to you are gone. We are literally just a handful of us left out of this carnage. We have seen the end of those who were near and dear to us, and still we are alive. All these days we have fought, and we have realized that it is not possible to conquer Arjuna. He has been victorious, always. Look at the state of your army now and think of it just 18 days back. Arjuna has killed so many of our heroes. Bhima and Satyaki with Drishtadyumna and Abhimanyu have caused havoc in our army. When Dushasana was killed, we were all there. You were in the presence of Bhima. Radeya was there and Kritavarma was there. I was there. Yet Bhima killed him. We could do nothing about it. Even in the same manner, Jayadratha was killed. Can you not see that we have absolutely no chance of winning? The wise say that one should fight when one is powerful and that peace is more sensible when one is weak. Do not think that I am suing for peace because I am fond of my life. In the interest of you, my king, and the few remaining men, I am saying this. More than anything else, it is my desire to see you live that is making me ask this favor of you. Make peace with the Pandavas. Yudhishthira will be only too glad to make it up with you. Krishna is for peace too. The Pandavas will listen to the words of Krishna. Please, Duryodhana, stop this destruction. Kripa was sobbing with emotion. He fainted after saying these words. He loved Duryodhana and he wanted to see him live. Duryodhana saw the condition of his dear Acharya. He revived him with perfumed water. Kripa regained his senses and still was shedding tears. Duryodhana looked at him with eyes soft with emotion, with tears and with affection. He said, "You are speaking the right words. Only a friend will talk like this to me. You are my well-wisher. Before the war, you tried to dissuade me from thoughts of war. But once the war began, I have not had a more sincere fighter than you. You were always at the van and you would enter the Pandava army without thinking of yourself and the risk to yourself. I know it, my lord. You are my first guru. Drona came later. I have been with you ever since I was born. You have taught me much. I have immense respect for you. Your words are full of affection and compassion for me. I know it so well. But, my lord, it is not possible to make peace now. It should have been done long ago. Think of the many sufferings of the Pandavas. Think of the game of dice. Do you think I will be forgiven that? Krishna came to me with a message of peace. Remember how I treated that. Do you remember the scene in the court when Draupadi was dragged to the court by Dushasana? Bhima is known to me. We played together. He has always been an affectionate person. Did you see him when he drank the blood of my brother? What rage must have been fuming in his heart for years for him to have done what he did. Think of Abhimanyu. Do you think Krishna and Arjuna will ever forget the death of Abhimanyu? Never. The insult to Draupadi will never be forgotten by the Pandavas. Draupadi has taken an oath that she will sleep only on the ground until I am dead. My dear Acharya, you do not seem to see things in their proper perspective. Peace is not possible, not with the great Pandavas who have been so harassed by me. The death of Abhimanyu has made it impossible even to dream of peace. Let us not think of that. Apart from all this, I am not for peace. I do not want to make it up with the Pandavas. As you say, Yudhishthira is so righteous that he will agree to the proposal if it is made by me. Krishna and Arjuna may also forget Abhimanyu. It is quite probable that they will agree for peace. They are all of them peace loving men, and I know that the moment I suggest it, they will agree. But, Acharya, I am not for it. I do not want to make it up with the Pandavas. No, I have enjoyed this entire world all alone. Do you think I will now share it with them? Yudhishthira and his brothers will rule the world, and I will have to be a dependent on them. I have always blazed in lone splendor, eclipsing the lesser kings of the world. Can I follow in the train of this man Yudhishthira as one of his attendants? I have tasted luxury. I have given away so much wealth as charity. How can I become a lesser king subordinate to the Pandavas? My lord, having known me and my pride, you must not suggest this peace with the enemies. I am not angry with you, not at all. You mean well, but I am yet to see a sick man relish bitter medicine. I am set on war. I have that it is the wisest path to glory. I am not a coward. I have never feared anyone or anything. I have lived a full and happy life. I have lived like a king. I have pleased the poor with my bounty. I have heard the Vedas being recited night and day. I have performed yagnas too. I have placed my foot on the heads of my enemies. My servants have all been treated well by me. I have always helped those who were in want. I have made my conquests and I have ruled my kingdom well. After tasting all this, I am not able to imagine me as a dependent. Now my friends are all dead. I have lost all the men who wanted to see me a monarch. Still, they all died as Kshatriyas should. In this world where everything dies, where is the compassion between a life of comfort under another man's rule and eternal fame? Radheya's favorite theory was that a man should strive for fame and for nothing else, since fame is the one thing permanent, unchanging in this transient world. I want fame. I can get it only by fighting. My name will be cleansed of all its stigma if I die bravely in the war. It is not a good death for a Kshatriya if he dies at home, suffering from a disease or fever. A Kshatriya should die either in the battle or in the forest. I have made up my mind. I will reach the heavens after fighting bravely. All my dear friends have gone there already. They will be waiting for me. They gave up their lives for me, and this is the only way in which I can repay the debt. The path has been trodden by my grandfather and my revered Guru Drona. The dearest of men, Radheya, is gone. Jayadratha, who trusted me, is gone there already. I will attain the highest regions by dying on the field. My mind has lost the glamour it had for the kingdom. I do not care for it, not after the death of Radheya. I wanted to share this world with him. I wanted to sit on the same throne with him. But that could not be. He is gone. I will not play the coward now when they are all gone. The world will think of me as a time server. The world will talk of me in disparaging terms if I make peace with the Pandavas after allowing all my friends to die for me. I am guilty of many things, but not ingratitude. I have really decided to make up for all I have lost. I mean to find a way to heaven, and that is by a brave death on the field of battle. Do not grieve for me. I am past all caring. With the death of Radheya, something inside me snapped. He was the noblest of men. He gave up his everything for me. I cannot live in this world after he has gone. I am lost without him. The only way to join that noble man is to die. Die fighting and not by dying at home with my bed surrounded by weeping relatives. Please try to understand me and my refusal to take your advice. Duryodhana was silent after this. Kripa thought, that the greatness of Radeya and the loss of him had made Duryodhana suddenly soft, gentle, and very lovable. He could say nothing more. They had to think of the war, and the next commander had to be chosen. Shri Krishna Pranamastu. Chapter 2 of Shalya Parva, Death of Shalya. Most of them had just finished their morning ablutions in the red waters of the river Saraswati and were waiting for the king to go to them and talk about the future. Their bodies were burning as if with fever, and the waters of the river could not cool them. Duryodhana went to the banks of the river and met them. He went to Ashwatthama and asked him for his opinion. He said, "You are the wisest of all of us. Please tell me who should be made the commander of the army." Ashwatthama said, "The great Shalya is the fittest person to be the commander. He is the most powerful man and he is very devoted to you. It is possible to win the war with Shalya as your commander." Duryodhana approached Shalya and said, "With folded palms I stand before you, asking you to be the commander of our army. Please lead us to victory." Shalya was very happy. He said, "I am very happy to do this for you. Yesterday, just before the duel between Radeya and Arjuna began, Radeya asked me what I would do if he should die in the war. I told him that it was not possible. But if he should die, I said, I would then avenge his death by killing Arjuna and Krishna. I have to keep up my promise to one of the greatest of men that I have met. I will be the commander of your army. I am a very powerful enemy. The Pandavas will not be able to withstand my prowess. Arjuna cannot defy me. I will today win the war for you, Duryodhana, or I will die on the battlefield. You can rest assured that I will do my best." Shalya was crowned the commander of the Kaurava army. There was a semblance of happiness in the minds of all of them. Listening to the sounds coming from the Kaurava camp and drawing his own conclusions, Yudhishthira said, "I can see that Shalya has been made the commander of their army. I do not know what is to be done now. Shalya is a great man. He has never been defeated so far. How are we going to tackle him?" Krishna said, "I know what you say is true. No one has been able to defeat Shalya. His skills with the bow and arrow is something wonderful. He is a very graceful fighter. Bhishma, Drona and Radeya are all far inferior to Shalya. In fighting with a mace, he is unrivaled. He is terrible with a mace. Even our Bhima will be defeated by him. Drishtadyumna, Satyaki, Arjuna, Bhima, Shikhandi and the twins, all of them together cannot equal Shalya. But, Yudhishthira, I have a feeling that you are the one person who is superior to Shalya. Excepting you, no one will be able to kill him. Please forget the fact that he is your uncle. You must kill him as Indra killed Vritra. You are a righteous man. You have the power of Dharma behind you. You will be able to kill Shalya, the commander of the Kaurava army." The 18th day of the great war had dawned. The army of the Kauravas was today commanded by Shalya. He was skilled in forming vyuhas. He arranged his scanty army in a difficult vyuha. He had with him just a few of the heroes, Kripa, Ashwatthama, Shakuni, Kritavarma, Duryodhana, and a few of his brothers. They made a pact. There should be no individual duels. They could not afford it. They should attack the Pandava army altogether. It should be a wholesale slaughter. Each should protect the other and they should avoid duels as far as possible. The fight began. Even though they had suffered greatly during the last 17 days, the two armies were still huge. It looked as though the plan of Shalya was very good. Seeing that Shalya had planned a combined attack, the Pandavas divided their army into 3 divisions, headed by Drishtadyumna, Shikhandi and Satyaki. Yudhishthira attacked Shalya. He was supported by Nakula and Sahadeva. Kritavarma's attack was defended by Arjuna. Bhima was against the Acharya Kripa. The fighting was intense. This combined attack was causing quick destruction in the armies. The Kaurava army was suffering greater loss. Shalya was concentrating on Yudhishthira. It was almost a duel that was fought between Shalya and Yudhishthira. Shalya was faring well. Yudhishthira was finding him to be too powerful. Bhima came to his help. He brought out his mace to fight with Shalya. He felled the horses of Shalya with one blow of his mace. Shalya jumped down from his chariot and took up his mace. There was a magnificent duel between the two. Everyone, Duryodhana and others, stood watching the duel between the great fighters. Finally, Shalya was overpowered by Bhima. He fainted away and was carried away from the field by Kripa. The fight became general once again. The war on the 18th day was singularly wanting in the spectacular duels of the other days. All of them were eager to finish the war soon. It was a wholesale slaughter. Shalya came back in another chariot and resumed fighting with the Pandavas. He had begun to kill ruthlessly. It was midday. The army was suffering from the fury of Shalya's arrows. He was magnificent. The Kauravas were sure that they would win the war. Duryodhana was quite sure that the Pandavas would be killed. Satyaki and his friend Drishtadyumna were, however, just as terrible. Bhima was in his element. There was no one who could stand up against Arjuna. Still, the Pandavas were suffering. Yudhishthira was getting worried. He told himself, even the words of Krishna seem to go wrong. He said that I will be able to kill Shalya. Satyaki, Drishtadyumna and all of my brothers are trying in vain to stop him. Krishna's words cannot go wrong. I must kill Shalya. He was furious with his uncle for his cruel killing of the army. He called every one of his associates and said, the Kauravas have now been reduced to just a handful of heroes. Bhishma and Drona with the terrible Radeya and so many others heroes have been killed. We have victory almost in our grasp. I must not let it slip because of Shalya. You have all done your share in the war. Arjuna has killed so many. Satyaki has killed so many. Bhima has destroyed most of the army. Drishtadyumna has rid the world of Drona. It is now my share. I must kill Shalya. I have decided either to die myself or kill him. Satyaki, you must become the protector of the right wheel of my chariot. Drishtadyumna, the left wheel will be protected by you. I am asking Bhima to precede me and Arjuna will protect me from behind. Equip my chariot with all the weapons in abundance. I will now set out to fight with Shalya. After this, Yudhishthira felt as though he had already killed Shalya. The fight was on. With his lips set in grim determination, Yudhishthira fought with Shalya. Yudhishthira fought very well. The teachings of Drona were not forgotten by him in spite of 13 years of exile. All the Kaurava heroes rallied to the help of Shalya, and all the heroes on the side of Pandavas were stationed about the chariot of Yudhishthira. It was a new Yudhishthira they saw today. He was looking like the god of death. So formidable was the frown on his forehead. Shalya was without his chariot once and without his bow more than once. He fainted once and came back to fight after he had recovered. The prowess of Bhima on the 18th day was something they had not seen before. He harassed Shalya in 1,000 ways. He killed his horses and his charioteer with his mace. Shalya was undaunted. Yudhishthira was set on killing him. Shalya advanced towards Yudhishthira as a lion jumps at a weaker animal. Yudhishthira set his thoughts on Krishna and he took up a terrible javelin. It was very strong and wicked looking. It was fretted with gems and it looked like the Shakti in the hands of Lord Kartikeya. Yudhishthira threw it at the chest of Shalya. It was a terrible weapon. It coursed through the air like a star of flame. It hit Shalya in his broad chest. Hitting it, the javelin entered his chest as a snake enters its hole in the ground. Shalya's blood flowed out in spurts. The great Shalya, the commander of the Kaurava army, fell down dead. His body fell out of the chariot and on the ground. His arms were both spread out and he looked as though he was taking a final embrace of Mother Earth before he was parted from her. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Krishnar Pranamastu.